Yo, what's up everyone? I got a quick tutorial here for you. I figured out how to do something really cool in Ableton that I didn't think was possible until recently. So imagine you wanted to make a DJM filter. Let's load up an EQ here. A lot of the times you might end up in a situation where you make a macro rack and you're mapping this to here and you're mapping this to here, but then you just kind of end up with a bandpass filter. And what we want is a low pass filter that is only affected when you turn the knob from halfway down to 0, and a high pass filter that's only affected when you turn the knob from halfway up to 100%. And so I've actually figured out a way to do that, and check this out. All you need is to use this little thing called CV utility. This comes with Live. It is free, I'm pretty sure. And what this allows you to do is send more than one value to a single knob. So that allows us to do some pretty interesting things. Let me show you what I mean. So if let's just use the low pass for now. If I map this to the frequency now, it's going to add up these two values, actually three, but we only need two for now. It's going to add them both up, and when it equals 100%, then it's going to be at 100% and it won't be able to go any farther, but these knobs can still turn. So that becomes very useful if we map both of these to one knob. So check this out. Now, when I am at 50% on the macro, we're at 100% open on the EQ. So effectively, just the back half of this knob is acting as a low pass filter. And if we wanted to turn this into a DJM filter, then we just need to set up the same thing on the high pass filter. Now, it gets a little bit wonky here because you have to do things a little bit backwards, but I'm just going to load up another CV utility and map this to this one here. And same thing, I'm going to map these both to macro 1. Now, what you'll notice is, well, we kind of ended up with a bandpass filter. So let me turn off let me turn off the low pass so you can see what's going on here. What's happening is we're getting all the way to the right side, all the way high pass at 50%, and we want it to go the other way. So I have to invert these ranges first of all. But then the other issue is it's still only functioning on the back half of this knob. So that's an easy fix. We're just going to open up map mode and then invert the range for that one. So now you can see as I lift this up past 50%, pardon me, it starts to turn on the high pass filter. So if I turn on the low pass filter as well, now you can see this knob. When I'm at the middle, it's open, and as I go up, we get a high pass filter sweep, and then if I go down, I get a low pass filter sweep. So now you might notice it sounds a little bit like it's kind of stepping, and the reason for that is because the knob is getting turned at twice the speed that it thinks it's supposed to. So it is actually skipping some values because this is percentage based, right? So you can see it's not actually smooth. Every time I go down by 1 here, it's actually jumping kind of far. So that's a little bit annoying, but we can fix that by just increasing the smooth amount. So I'm going to map this to macro 2 and map the same one as well. And I find that around 17% is all you need to get it to step through all the frequencies properly. So we can turn this down if you really want it to go very quick and you're doing a super fast automation, then you probably won't notice much. But now if I turn the smooth up, if we listen to it, you can see it actually goes through all of the different frequency ranges. As I go up one number, you can see it's kind of like scrolling through. So that kind of helps mitigate a little bit of the issue, but we have now finally created a knob in Ableton that's able to map to multiple locations at the same time and affect them differently. So this is super useful. And one other thing that I want to try and build really quickly is a bandpass filter that uses one knob to open the bandpass and another knob that tells you what frequency you want to start the bandpass on. This is super useful for situations where you want to like bring in a new sound into a song, or like have a sound fade away into like a specific frequency range. It's sort of a transitional effect that I use a lot. So let's try. I've got a Simplon here. I like the way that FabFilter Simplon sounds. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use that. But you could do this with two auto filters or an EQ, just like I did in the last example. So I've got this set up where I've got a filter frequency. Let me turn this back to normal. I've got the filter frequency 1 available, and I've got the resonance available, and I can change the slope of the filter if necessary as well. And I've got the same thing on filter 2. And then just a dry wet effect because I figured that would be kind of useful. So let's see if we can sort this out again. So let me just open one of these at a time. I'm going to map the filter frequency here. And so now I've got one that controls the position of it. And then this one will add to that value, and it should open it. So now let's group all of this, and I'm going to map this to macro 1 and call this freak position, and I'm going to call this I'll map this to macro 5, I guess. I think that's how I worked out this is going to work, because I want them vertically aligned. We're going to call this open. Okay, let's call it filter open. Perfect. So now I want to match this with the second filter. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to map this to the position and this to the open. Okay, and I've had to invert the range here, but let's see what happens. Okay, so there's one issue, which is that when I'm trying to move the position of the bandpass filter, they're moving in opposite directions. If I try to open it, this works, right? Terrific. If I had this back at a normal polarity, then it would be kind of the opposite. Now I can move the bandpass filter around, but the opening also just kind of moves them in the same direction. So that's why we need to set one of these up going the wrong direction. Okay, so how do we make it so that the filter center position is moving correctly? Well, all you have to do is invert the one value of the secondary position filter. So that is, they all kind of look the same right now. It's value 1 on the second one here. So I'm pretty sure if I invert that range, now you can see that the filter moves together. Now they're in the same position, and the open knob now spreads them apart. So now I've got a bandpass filter where I can set the frequency and then open it. So I can, oh, that's the wrong channel. Let's try that again. Right, so I can have a sound come in from that frequency range, or I can have it open from here, or I can have it come in from here. Right? And so now, if I just close all these guys, I can just map these all back to here, and then here to macro 6 and macro 7. Okay, so now I can control the position, I can open it, and then I've got my resonances that I want, and then I can change the filter slope as well. So I could do something like this. Right? Right, and we can really tighten it right up. Cool. Okay, so now the best part about Simplon is if I want to switch this to a band reject, all I have to do is map macro 4 to the shape of each filter and have them invert so that the low pass becomes a high pass and the high pass becomes a low pass. So right here, as you can see on filter 1, at the minimum value, it's a low pass, and at the maximum value, it's a high pass. And then on filter 2, it's reversed. So if I turn this up, they actually switch. But I also have to do one other thing, is route them parallel to serial. So by default, they are serial, and that's what you want for a bandpass. And then parallel means that there's two different signals going on at the same time. So now if I open this up, we get a bandpass. Sorry, we get a band reject. Now, it would be nice if I could get it to be a little bit more closed. There we go. Now let's boost these resonances a bit. It might take a little bit of fine tuning to get the band reject to sound better, but match this with just increasing the smooth a little bit here, and we should be all good to go. Cool. So you can imagine all of the different possibilities. I thought that was cool. And now we have a brand new technique we can use in Ableton that I never thought was possible. If you think of anything else cool you can do with CV utility, please let me know. And have fun. Peace.